I'm breaking down episode 7 of Only Murders in the Building, season 4, titled Valley of the Dolls. And like every other episode this season, this title is another movie reference, this time the 1967 classic of the same name. This episode was my favorite when I first watched the critic screeners back in August with my wife, and even after rewatching it, it still holds up as one of the funniest episodes of the season. So let's get into it right now. Welcome back to the Neurosocial. I'm Nathan. As always, if you want to skip ahead of the intro to my analysis or rating, check the chapter links below. So, the 7th episode of season 4 should debut on October 8th. Episode 7, Valley of the Dolls, is one of the longest episodes of the season, clocking in at nearly 40 minutes, and is packed with hilarious guest stars, surprising character moments, and a major breakthrough in the case. Let's dive in deeper. The spoiler-free logline for this episode is: terrified by the threat inside the Arconia, the trio race out of the city. A member of Charles's family provides refuge, and yet this safe house proves to be anything but. All right, let's start breaking down this episode. Spoilers ahead. So, as I mentioned, this week's title is a reference to Valley of the Dolls from 1967. It is a melodrama directed by Mark Robson, based on Jacqueline Susann's best-selling novel of the same name. The film delves into the lives of 3 women in the entertainment industry, exploring their struggles with addiction, ambition, and personal turmoil. Known for its mix of camp and tragedy, Valley of the Dolls became a cult classic over the years. The movie doesn't seem to have a direct connection to the plot of this episode, except for the fact that women play a very prominent role in this episode. If you didn't catch my spoiler-free review, and the link is above, I mentioned that the guest stars were the standouts, and the guest stars are the 3 guest star women who were in this episode. And of course, there's a reference to dolls in this episode as well, so I think that's the main connection. So we start the episode with a voiceover by a narrator who we meet later on in the episode, Big Mike, with a cynical view of New York City. Meanwhile, Mabel, Charles, and Oliver are speeding away from the Arconia. Mabel is anxious about the killer having been in their apartments. Oliver is focused on crafting a breakup text to Loretta, and Charles is trying to find a safe house. They head to Charles's sister's Doreen's house in Long Island to lay low. Mabel coordinates with Howard to check on who's been cashing Dudenoff's checks, and they all turn off their phones to avoid being tracked. So the trio arrives at Charles's sister's Doreen's house. Charles warns Mabel and Oliver that Doreen can be a bit spontaneous. Doreen greets them with a snide remark about Charles' rare visits, noting that it's not Thanksgiving. She invites them in, and they prepare to hide from the killer. After the opening credits inside Doreen's house, the trio is surrounded by dolls. Doreen explains her collection of dolls, which she started when her daughters left for various reasons. She talks about her estranged husband, Big Mike, who's now living in a boat in the driveway after being kicked out for frequenting a place called Can-Cans, a Hooters for butts. Doreen continues her erratic, humorous behavior, and Mabel and Oliver are both creeped out by the dolls. So this is actually, like I said, what I was alluding to in my spoiler-free review. When I was talking about the guest stars, Melissa McCartney, of course, is standout in this episode. She's hilarious, as she almost always is. She gets even better when Meryl Streep shows up later in the episode. So later on, the trio have a conversation in one of Doreen's rooms, also filled with dolls, which startles Oliver. Charles explains that his relationship with Doreen became strained after he accidentally caused her to lose her spleen as a child. Oliver, heartbroken over his relationship with Loretta, doesn't engage much with the case, while Charles focuses on making the house murder-free. The next morning, Charles attempts to borrow tools from Big Mike's boat, but runs into Bev Mella. Bev expresses her panic over the film's future, mentioning that the studio is considering firing the brother-sisters after they're found to be the killers. Charles reassures her, somewhat ambiguously, that they're probably not the murderers. Inside, Mabel looks for a place to work without the dolls, while Oliver searches for alcohol. Bev enters, freaking out about the possibility of the movie being canceled due to the murderers. She rambles about her stress and hunger, eventually hanging back out to Big Mike's boat for pizza crusts. Oliver rummages through Doreen's bar, and she offers him a cocktail, a Sweaty Betty, made with vodka and Crystal Light, the conversation shifts to his relationship with Oliver, lamenting his breakup with Loretta. Doreen shares her own troubles with her husband, and the conversation becomes increasingly personal. Then the doorbell rings, and the next scene, Zach Galifianakis, Eva Longoria, and Eugene Levy arrive unexpectedly at Doreen's house, having been told by Howard to find the trio. They complain that they are being left to fend for themselves against the killer and insists on staying for safety. Zach shows his stomach wound as proof. Mabel is frustrated but reluctantly agrees to let them stay, telling them to amuse themselves with the dolls and give her their phones. Meanwhile, Oliver and Doreen continue their conversation, with Oliver sharing his desire for a simple, loving relationship. Doreen talks more about her marital issues. Things take an awkward turn when Doreen puts Oliver's arm around her shoulder, and the doorbell rings and Loretta walks in and finds them in a compromising position. In the next scene, in Act 2, Loretta confronts Oliver about why he broke up with her. Oliver explains that he thought he was rebuffed by Loretta, and Loretta realizes that it was a misunderstanding. They laugh about it and they forgive each other. They reconcile, with Loretta assuring Oliver that she doesn't think of him as a ugh. Elsewhere in the house, Charles is in a room trying to nail the windows shut for safety when Doreen walks in. She jokes about helping him nail his fingers to the house. They have a tense conversation where Charles expresses his guilt over their childhood accident and how his podcast has put people in danger. Doreen tries to remind him of their past connection, but Charles is too focused on the present crisis. Later, the actors, Zach, Ava, and Eugene, say they're bored and offer to help Mabel with her case. They reveal they have peculiar investigative skills, including Eugene's knowledge of handwriting and dialect. Mabel is skeptical, but allows them to assist after Loretta suggests it, and they diagnose Bev's issues when she comes in ranting. Elsewhere in the city, Howard is investigating at the bodega where the do-not checks have been cashed. After some negotiation with the shopkeeper, Howard gains access to the ledger and discovers that signatures on the checks don't match, confirming suspicion that someone else is cashing them. And he tries to get the news to Mabel, who isn't monitoring her phone. This is a major clue. Back at the house, Mabel explains everything about the case to the actors, who start to work together on the case. Elsewhere in the house, Oliver confesses to Loretta that he created a fake Instagram account to keep tabs on her while she was in LA. He admits that he was scared of losing her and that he was going to propose, and his actions spiraled from that. Loretta is furious, feeling betrayed. The fight escalates with Loretta storming out after accusing Oliver of breaking her trust. In the next scene, Loretta, still upset, runs into Doreen in the living room, and they quickly get into an altercation, with Doreen shoving Loretta. The argument escalates into a full-blown physical fight, with Doreen putting Loretta in a headlock. Zach, Eva, Eugene, and Mabel walk in on the chaos, unsure how to intervene, and the fight ends with Loretta gaining the upper hand, showing off her combat skills learned from Sensei Brian. This is part of what I was talking about in my spoiler-free review and what I was mentioning to my wife when we were watching this episode together. The writers probably had a ball thinking up this scene when they had Meryl Streep fighting with Melissa McCartney, because it's hilarious every time I see it. There's obviously like a stunt woman in the middle of the scene, especially when Meryl Streep goes over the couch, but it seems like she's in most of this scene fighting. It's pretty funny. Anyway, in the next scene after the fight, Charles tends to Doreen's wounds. He has a heart-to-heart with her, apologizing for not being there for her after the childhood accident. Doreen confesses that their mother's emotional distance hurt her deeply, but she's always looked up to Charles. They agree to reconnect, blaming their emotional distance on their mother's difficult nature. Then Oliver, feeling ashamed for his behavior, apologizes to Loretta for creating a fake Instagram account and for his insecurities. So Loretta reassures him that despite his eccentricities, she loves him. She then proposes to him, offering a doll's bracelet as a token of her commitment. Oliver is overjoyed and accepts. The next morning, the actors wake the trio up, excited to show off their murder wall they've constructed. The actors reveal that they've pieced together several clues pointing to the killer, that the killer has been after the trio since season 1. But they bring up inconsistencies in the past seasons, such as the poisoning of Winnie and note written by someone who is left-handed and Jan isn't. The threatening note left on Jan's door, which looks just like the note from the text message. So a lot of clues here. In the final scene, we actually see Big Rec arrive, revealing new information from Howard. The checks being cashed each under Dunoff's name were signed by multiple people, all connected by one phone number. And we see a flashback to Howard actually making the phone call and Vince Fish picking it up. This leads to the shocking revelation that the Westies are involved in the murders. So this episode ends with the trio realizing they're dealing with a much larger conspiracy than they originally thought. All right, so as I have over the last couple of weeks, I'm going to run through what has been resolved and what is unresolved from this episode. On a personal note, the relationship issues between Oliver and Loretta have been resolved, leading to an engagement. Charles and Doreen's tension has been resolved. They've cleared the air on the childhood accident and the strained relationship. It seems that we know from Howard's investigation who has been cashing the checks. It's been the Westies. We still don't understand their involvement. They seem to have something to do with the murders. And also it seems that the movie is going to go ahead, even though there was some concern from the studio. Unresolved, we still don't know the killer's identity. The killer has been watching this trio since season 1 and is connected to multiple murders, but their identity is still unknown. The new revelation about the Westies complicates the matter. We still don't know why Dunoff and Zaz were killed. Well, it still seems that the same person killed Dunoff and Zaz. We still don't know why each person was killed. We still don't know the motive of why the killers are targeting the trio, or have been targeting trio since season 1. And it seems that, and as I mentioned earlier, a giant clue, the same person who put the note on Jan's door, who was the murderer in season 1, also is the person who sent them the text messages. So what did you think of Valley of the Dolls? Did the guest stars and the humor hit for you as much as it did for me? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like and share and subscribe for more in-depth analysis of film and TV. All right, guys, see you in the next one. Bye.